The Ravens win it in thrilling fashion. Jackson with 124 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, the most rushing yards by a QB ever on Monday Night Football. Here's Lamar on his return to the game.
Trace was doing a great job dropping the ball down the field. Then I see my guy go down. And as I'm seeing him go down, like, I'm still stretching. Like, I got to get back. I'm catching the attitude because I'm like, man, it ain't going the way we want to. And then I see him go down, and I'm like, we got to start now. Like, we just got to go out there now. And I start running out there. Kel running with me. It's 4th down. And offensive line blocked their tail off, and our guys just made great catches, and we came out with the victory.
He got me on the I'm catching an attitude. All right, time now for some Next Gen Stats powered by AWS. And according to Next Gen Stats, the Baltimore Ravens had a win probability of 92% after J.K. Dobbins scored a 1-yard rushing touchdown. That was in the 3rd quarter. Now with Jackson out of the game, the Ravens' win probability plummeted to 43%. But once he returns with 2 minutes left, the probability shoots right back up. And that is the Lamar effect, 90% at that point. Let's bring in LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Robinson, and D'Angelo Hall to break this one down. Guys, and M-Rob, I want to start with you here. Did that performance from Lamar Jackson sort of change that narrative we kept hearing about him not being able to win big games?
I don't know if it's going to change the narrative about him winning big games. Let's just be honest with you, and Lamar showed it last night. He's one of the most electrifying players in the National Football League, and he doesn't have to beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. And I think when the teams that give Lamar Jackson the issues are the teams that can score fast, score quick, and score a lot of points and force the Baltimore Ravens to kind of get out of their game plan. That didn't happen last night because because the Cleveland Browns throwing the football isn't their ammo. Running the football is how they move the football down the football field. So I just thought the matchup dictated that the Baltimore Ravens came away with a win. But I think as this Baltimore Ravens team goes forward and as it tries to go into the playoffs, and it will get in some of those big games, possibly against the Kansas City Chiefs and the class of the AFC, Lamar Jackson's gonna have to throw the football from the pocket. He's gonna have to beat teams from the pocket, throwing the football vertically down the football field and outside of the numbers. If not, teams are just going to sit in the middle of the field and force him to do something with the football, and I'm not sure he's going to run the football every single play.
Hey, M-Rob, you're right to a certain extent, but come on, man. You were one of those quarterbacks that used your legs as well as your arm to go out there and make plays. I played with a guy, Michael Vick, and I don't know if I have ever quite seen him pull that Mamba mentality, man. On that 4th and 5, I think what makes Lamar so special is that he can use his legs. Look, he makes the corner void his coverage because he's worried about Lamar. Because as a DB, I know, look, that D lineman can't catch him. The linebackers can't catch him. Me as a corner, I'm probably the only one who can run Lamar down. And so, yes, my eyes are going to be distracted on Lamar Jackson. And you see Hollywood Brown find the soft spot of that zone. And so, I just think it's those one-off plays, right? Those off-schedule plays. Can Lamar be much more accurate? Absolutely. There were throws that he probably should have made. But at the end of the day, they came away with the win.
Yeah, so guys, here's the thing. The reality is that, yes, Lamar Jackson can win the big game, but how does he win the big game? That's the whole question to me. If he's able to run the football like he was able to do last night, they ran it for over 200 yards. They never got down in the game truly, behind by 2 scores where they had to throw the football. So, yes, if they're in that type of game, absolutely he can win that type of game. That's how he became the MVP. And that's what we saw from him last night, is Lamar Jackson, the MVP, making plays for his team. But at the same time now, if we're playing Kansas City like early in the year and we get down by 2 touchdowns, can Lamar Jackson bring us back with his arm? I'm not so sure. He hasn't proved that yet. I would love to see him get the opportunity to do so. Hopefully he will coming down the stretch. But as of right now, I agree with M-Rob. He still has to prove at some point that he can win the game from the pocket.
Ooh, LT just, speaking of in the pocket, just sat there and said, okay, I'm going to let y'all finish. It's not about if, but how. But guys, you know what this conversation needs? A Ravens Super Bowl winning coach. And luckily, we happen to have one. Coach Brian Billick joining us now. Now, we saw Lamar come back in and control the game with his arm last night. Coach, what did you think of that game-changing play there at the end with Marquise Brown?
Yeah, unbelievable, right out of a Hollywood script. And you got to give Cleveland credit, one, for putting him in that position, responding the way they did. But they had the right defensive call. When you look at the tape, they brought a six-man pressure. They were going to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket, which is what just what these guys are talking about. If you're going to beat us, make them do it from the pocket. But what do? They spy out here. They bring the extra two guys, but they lose contain. They let Lamar Jackson get outside the edge. At this point, you're dead. The corners now, they can't do anything right. It's only 4th and 4. They can't let Lamar just run for the first down and continue the drive, so they have to settle. That's just enough for Lamar. Great job keeping his vision downfield, getting the ball down to Marquise Brown. So, again, I think that kudos to the Cleveland Browns for the way they responded emotionally. They had so many right calls that could have made a difference in the game. But again, Lamar Jackson, if you can keep him in the pocket, that doesn't mean he can't make the plays. But if he gets outside the pocket, it's game, set, and match.
And, Coach, I want to talk about the receiver for a second because Hollywood Brown had a few drops earlier in the game, looked frustrated, but it was really good to see him make those big plays that we know he's capable of.